Hello, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I just got back from the gym. I have been going to a new gym just to separate work and my workout time because I get stuck talking to people, or I can't get the equipment that I want because the gym that I work at is a little bit smaller. So I just ventured out and got a gym membership. It's been really weird because I have gym anxiety as a fitness professional. So I'm going to make some lunch and then I'm going to chat just a little bit about self-sabotage and learning and growing from your mistakes. I have done a lot of that this past year, leaving it in 2022. I'm gonna go ahead, fix this lunch, and then we'll get to the chat. Making a lot of chicken. I had some in the fridge that I recently bought. Cooking it all, I added some seasoning, used this wood-fired garlic, and then like some onions, different herbs, smoked paprika, that kind of thing. Just started eating meat again this year. I was like 5 years vegan. And then I started eating fish again. I just wasn't eating enough variety, so my diet was not very good. My health was seeing the consequences of being a creature of habit and eating the same things over and over again. So I decided to add meat back into my diet just for my health and my fitness goals as well. And I thought it was gonna make me really bloated, and it didn't. So here we are. I don't do red meat still, I never will probably. I really like fish and chicken, and turkey, and that's about it. So that's where I'm at right now, letting this simmer. Gonna work on some stuff and probably shower while this cooks. So let's get to it. Hello. So I ate, I worked on some stuff, and now we're here. And I wanted to take this time to chat about being alone as well as self-sabotage, and why I am taking a step back for a couple weeks just to assess my needs before I kind of project onto other people, and just learning how to be alone again, or just alone comfortably and not feel dependent on being with my significant other. So yeah, getting into learning to be alone, it can be a very rewarding experience as well as a very humbling experience, realizing how much you do depend on the company of other people to kind of keep you occupied from the things going on in your mind. It's really important to have that time to yourself to reflect on your thoughts and feelings and to pursue your own interests instead of the interests that are kind of put on you by other people, or just that you feel pressured to partake in because of the people around you. Not necessarily that they're bad, but maybe they're just not resonating with you at a certain level. So some things that you can do to kind of learn to be alone that I'm going to start implementing is practicing mindfulness again. I used to meditate more often, and it used to be a huge part of my daily routine, and in the past year I kind of fell out of it because I was just going through a lot and it was not made a priority by me, which is my bad. So one thing, practicing mindfulness, and that can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. There's lots of different types of meditations, etc. But mindfulness. Also engaging in solo activities or solo dates. For me, that looks like going to Marshall's or Target, getting a Starbucks coffee, and just wandering about. No aim or purpose. Sometimes there is something that I need to get. Sometimes I just like to, take some time by myself. It's relaxing to me. Solo walks, solo hikes. Of course, that means like going with Zuko, and just doing art, or for me, it's making content is how I spend time with myself. It's like a video journal, or, it's really nice to look back on these videos or videos that I've made in the past. And with that one, just learning to be in your own company and enjoying it, like genuinely enjoying it. You could go to the library, go to a coffee shop, whatever. Take yourself out. Another one is to take breaks from social media. I think sometimes it can give the illusion of connectedness, and really we're just distracting ourselves from being present. At least in my case, sometimes I am using it in a productive or beneficial manner, but sometimes I just fall into the comparison syndrome hole and I don't feel good about myself. I watch someone's videos and we all fall into it eventually. Social media is a very beautiful and also very cursed thing depending on how you use it and your awareness, and that just comes down to also mindfulness. The more mindful you are about your use, the better you can use your time. Next is to do things out of your comfort zone. Don't stick to the things that you've normally done. Maybe the things that you're doing is why you feel so afraid to be alone, or maybe you just haven't found the right type of people. And when you start doing things that you always wanted to do or are looking to learn or try, sometimes you just attract the right tribe or people who are on a similar path as you, and trying new things gets you out of your comfort zone, and it's always good for you. Obviously, learning alone can take time and practice, and it's not something that's just going to be enjoyable overnight. Haven't really connected with yourself in a while. It's like getting to know yourself again, and sometimes we are stuck in like our high school self or our early 20s self. For me, I'm 24, so sometimes I do find myself in thought loops that I thought had ended when I was in high school. So it's really interesting to spend that time with myself and recognize where those thoughts are coming from and be able to identify why I feel that way. One thing that I notice in myself that is a huge reason why I wanted to learn how to enjoy my time alone is because I began to really self-sabotage, meaning I was doing things that was not aligning with who I wanted to be or the types of relationships I wanted to build or the image I wanted to have for myself. And it was creating this inner conflict, and it was just not working for me. And obviously self-sabotage is, there's good things going in my life that there's no reason for me to sabotage, and I would sabotage them out of fear or, trauma-based thinking. And like I have expressed on my page before, is that I was recently diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and a lot of the therapy and recovery that comes with that is DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy, which is a lot of mindfulness and, being able to switch gears from, finding your wise mind, which is a combination of your rational and emotional mind. In a gist, self-sabotage is a very complex issue, and there can be a lot of underlying causes, especially if you have a significant amount of trauma. And why people engage in self-sabotaging behavior can be different for everybody. And some of the underlying causes can be, one, the fear of failure or succeeding. And that fear of failing or succeeding can lead them to do things that kind of sabotage the outcome because they're afraid of that change. So that's definitely one, and I think a lot of us have a fear of failure. Two is low self-esteem. It's kind of like an obvious one, but they can kind of not see themselves worthy of success or not see themselves as belonging in the same circle as other people who are successful or reach their goals. And so we can end up self-sabotaging by doing these things to confirm our beliefs about ourselves as not belonging or not being good enough. Number three, is unconscious behavior, which means we're engaging in behavior that we don't even really realize that we're doing. It's just so automatic for us to engage in that behavior that we just do it. And Zuko was not allowing it, so we're moved over here for now. Last one is habitual patterns. So people engage in self-sabotaging behaviors as a result of a long-standing habit or a way of thinking or behaving. So maybe it's the way that they've always done things and it's never really been questioned or challenged, or it's never presented to be an issue for them until it is an issue for them. If you believe that you are engaging in self-sabotaging behavior, there are things that you can do. I have a short list of things that you can do to kind of identify, first of all, if you are self-sabotaging. And these identifiers are, one, that you procrastinate or avoid taking action towards your goals, or putting off tasks and putting off taking steps towards achieving the goals that you actually know you want. Number two is engaging in negative self-talk. Maybe you have a really harsh critic in your mind and is not your best friend. The voice in your head should be your best friend. It's gonna live there forever. You can't shut it off. You can maybe try to shut it off through means of numbing, whether that be drugs or whatever, but it's gonna be there. So if you notice that that little voice in your head is really negative and tells you really awful things, that could mean your self-esteem is a little bit low, or you just need to work on reframing those thoughts. Number 3 is that you make excuses, whether for not achieving your goals or for yourself when you make mistakes. So there's not a lot of accountability, and that could be a sign that you are self-sabotaging. Number 4 is you engage in unhealthy behaviors that's harmful to your well-being. So there's nothing against drinking or doing drugs, but if you do it and it affects your ability to do other things, then it's kind of posing a problem for you, and you could be self-sabotaging or sabotaging your success in those ways. And the last one is that you sabotage your relationships, and you may intentionally or unintentionally undermine your relationships or play the victim. That was the problem that I have, which can ultimately hinder your own success. So to expand on that a little bit, a lot of problems I would have, and I would always tell people what they were doing wrong, and then almost, not always, but a lot of the times they would say like, oh, but you never ask me to do these things, or like, I always have to ask you how you're doing, or if you want to do something, you know, things like that, where I didn't necessarily notice it until someone pointed it out to me, but I was definitely sabotaging by, I was like, all these things are going wrong, oh, woe is me, and I wasn't really taking time to be rational and analyze if I was also catering to that person's needs, and if I was also putting myself in their shoes as to like my own behaviors. So that was something that I really like hit me like a fucking brick wall this year, because I didn't realize that I was doing it and I was not being a good partner. So I had to take a step back and be like, bitch. And if you are engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors and you want to stop, there are several things that you can do. Number 1 is identify the signs if you are self-sabotaging, because if you don't know, after that, explore those underlying causes. What's causing you to act this way? Is there something, like for me, was it the way that I was raised? Was it like my previous relationships that weren't very healthy? Figuring out why you have low self-esteem, why you don't believe in yourself, why you're afraid of change or success, and if there's unconscious motivations or conflicts, and if you have conflicting behavior as well, and why you're doing those things. My favorite thing to do is ask why to everything. So, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm really not feeling good about myself. Well, why? Oh, I ate a little too much and I'm feeling bloated. I feel bad about it. Well, why do you feel bad about it? Because my body image, you know, on and on and on and on. You can go forever until you find the root cause. Number 3, something that you can do if you believe you're self-sabotaging, is obviously seek support. That can be a supportive friend group, a supportive friend, a family member, or professional help if you don't really have those resources available to you. And it can be just someone that you trust, and sometimes it's good to have like a backboard to explore your thoughts. Make sure that that person is in the right headspace to receive it. If they're a medical professional, that's what they're there for. But if it's a family member or a friend, please make sure that they're also in a good place to be supportive and non-judgmental, and not really thinking either about their own interests, or if they have something going on, that you're not imposing your trauma on them before they're really dealing with their own emotions. Another thing you can do if you believe you're self-sabotaging is practice self-compassion. Try to reframe those thoughts. Try to use kind words, and I always try to do affirmations every day just to kind of reframe and put myself in that right mindset. And if you hear a negative thought, whether it's about yourself or someone else, something that really helped me not judge myself so much was that the first thought that you have is what you're conditioned to think, and the second thought that you have is what you actually think. So if you judge someone's outfit and you're like, oh my god, like what the are they wearing? And then again, if you're like, well, wait a minute, maybe that's all of their favorite items in one outfit, and good for them because they feel great in it. Or maybe it's their most comfortable items, maybe it's all they had, whatever, etc. You can change the thought and kind of reframe it in that way, and then it starts to flip, where you are training yourself to only think the positive thoughts, and then the negative ones just kind of float away. The thing that you can do is obviously set achievable goals. Something that always made me feel really bad was that I would set goals and not achieve them because I would overshoot. I would say, I'm gonna do this every single day, and it wasn't realistic for me at all. And so, for example, something that I do with this is small achievable goals every day. So right now I have 3 that I focus on, which is meditate, read 10 pages, and drink water. So those are my 3 to focus on right now, and I usually get those down pat and then rotate to new habits and make sure that I keep those habits instilled. And using a habit tracker really helps me because it's like a little reward when you check off the things that you've done. And use that momentum to kind of carry you into being successful, and then you don't give into that self-fulfilling prophecy of I
can never achieve anything that I want to do.
And so self-sabotage is a tough topic, and it's important to remember that overcoming these self-sabotaging behaviors takes time and effort, and it's okay to take things one step at a time. Sometimes you got to take a couple steps back to come forward, and that's exactly what I've done in the past like 4 or 5 months. I've been in a really bad headspace, and taking a step back for myself and for the people around me, because I was not being very present or very mindful or intentional about how I was not catering to my own needs, and then that means I was projecting onto other people, thinking that other people were the problem. But don't be too hard on yourself. Seek support if you need it, and this is a safe space as well. So if you have any questions or have things that you're struggling with, please comment so that we can kind of discuss them and maybe make a video as well. But overall, I'm getting my shit together, and I'm gonna be a better partner, a better friend, a better friend to myself. And 2023 is gonna be the year that we fight these demons, you know? So now it's actually time for me to read my book, and I'm signing off.